r/AskReddit by LaughWithMEmes. What are some things you'd only know by growing up poor? Knowing the cheapest thing on the menu at every restaurant for when your friend's family invites you out to dinner. Even though you're not paying, you're programmed to only select the cheapest thing. My friend's mom said you sure like hot dogs. That's all you order, no matter where we go to eat. I learned these things because I expected that they'd try to pay for me, and if I lost the no I'll pay for it battle, then at least I wouldn't be gouging them. I still hate letting others pay for me though. I feel like a moocher. Edit. Gosh, your laugh so wholesome. If anybody needs a pick me up, read the comments below this one. Made me smile. Not being able to do extracurriculars. I wanted to be in orchestra and I wanted to play soccer, but we couldn't afford it, so I was told no. Couldn't afford the uniforms or the gas to get me to practice, and definitely couldn't afford a violin. I ended up moving to a largely upper middle class area for college. First boyfriend was rich. He played 9 instruments and played soccer and went skiing since age 6. He voiced that he thought I was lazy and untalented for not having done at least a sport or learned something like guitar. I explained that we couldn't afford it, but that didn't seem to register. He tried to give me his old violin at one point so I could learn, and his mother pretty much ripped it out of my hands. I'm hungry, drink some water. We were probably the best hydrated children at school, Mayo. But I think the thing I appreciate most is the independence I've gained through fixing things to keep them going, or from just not wanting to ask my parents for help when I know they are struggling too. Your dad asking you for $20 so he can go to work for the week, but he'll pay you back when he gets paid. Yeah, my dad would randomly give me $5 every month or 2 months. Sometimes I saved it up and it always hurt when he needed $20 for gas. I didn't get mad though, because it was his money originally. How to do everything without money. Laundry gets done in the sink. Walking is cheaper than the bus. A shower is cheaper than TP. Torn clothes can be mended. Money isn't everything. Giving when you have extra is the best way to stay afloat in times of need. Thanks for the gold, guys. Most gas station attendants will not stop a small child from stealing toilet paper from their bathrooms. Who knew? Edit. Thanks for the silver. This isn't something I had to do a lot, but it happened from time to time. My mom took excellent care of me. We just fell a bit short sometimes. I used to work at a gas station. I looked the other way for a lot of shit. Everyone is struggling, and I don't give a shit if a kid steals a candy bar or gets a free IC. One man didn't have enough money for a lighter, so I said wait till I turn around. Go walk to the door, light the cig, throw the lighter on the ground, and walk out. Government cheese. Doing your laundry in a bathtub using only cold water. BC the gas was shut off. Trying to spend the night at your friend's house. BC they had food and a warm room. Thanks Nikki. Loving going to school because you could at least eat there. Trips to Goodwill for new clothes. Showers at school because at least free water was warm. Being made fun of because you smelled like kerosene. Having lice and no one doing anything about it. Going to school with bruises. BC your parents took their shitty decisions out in you. I'm so grateful to a handful of people that saw potential in me. I went to college, got a great job, and broke the cycle. Thanks Tom and Tony. IDK about in other states, but in MN they can't shut your power off during the winter because of the danger of someone freezing to death in their house. So that was a good time to try to catch up on some other bills you are way behind on too. They just passed the law in Arizona, where it is the other way around starting next summer due to it being 100 plus all day and night regularly. Everybody is curious to see how it is going to play out. Food stamp paper change. When I was a kid, if you used food stamps they would give back the change in food stamp form. My mom was too proud to publicly use them, so she would make up a reason to leave, and I would have to pay using them. I was 11 or so. She did it every time. I had to learn to keep my head up. My mother would send me into the store with $21 food stamps. I would stand at the register and get the 95 cents change for each 5-cent gum, one at a time. They figured out what I was doing and started laughing, but they let me do it. The shame was not nearly as bad as dealing with mama without her methadone. I was 11 too. On the bright side, nothing embarrasses me now. Libraries can save your life. The first part of my childhood I would get home from school, usually to a vacant house. I really wouldn't know if I was even going to see either of my parents each night. No cell phones, of course. But I was always afraid, nervous at least, of what would happen if they did decide to make an appearance. I started walking to the library every day after school and staying till they closed every night, just to avoid the feeling of anxiety for a little longer. Eventually one of the librarians noticed and took a liking to me. I think she might have been through similar things in her life that she saw in me. Gradually we got to know each other. First I started noticing there were more books being added in the genres that I liked. Then one day after the library closed, I walked over to McDonald's. I was a quarter or so short to buy a hamburger and she saw me asking people if they had any change. I saw her and was embarrassed and kinda hid from her. From that point on I think she decided that she was going to take me under her wing. For over a year she would come by my desk at the library and just drop off chips, granola bars, pop, whatever you know. Of course, I would tell her I didn't need it, when in reality I only knew where one meal would come from each day. When I would ask her where it came from, she would just say it was extras from the break room, even though I could hear her in there putting coin after coin into the vending machine. Eventually she would just bring dinner every night to the library and we would sit down in the break room with each other and eat. I finally opened up to her about my family/living issues and had her to talk to. Even though I was still pretty guarded, this was a huge relief. Then, after I had been there almost 2 years, it was the week before school started and I headed into the library. Before I left she told me to meet her outside after close. I did. We walked to her car and she pulled out a brand new school backpack and inside was a new outfit, binder, and shoes, my first Nikes. That's when I broke down and my walls crumbled. She was a single lady working off a librarian's income, but she still made room for me. For 3 years she supported me as much as she could, and she was more of a friend than I had ever experienced up until that point in my life. She is the number one reason I got out of that house in life. She was with me at all my adoption hearings and made sure I was put with a nice family. She was at my graduation and my wedding. She saw me grow up and succeed in life after coming from the bottom. She saw her work and love pay off. I went to her funeral this summer and it felt like I had lost my mother, but I couldn't stop reflecting on how much she changed my life through her sacrifice. That sometimes your parents sacrifice everything they have, including their sanity, just to see you happy. And you only learn later in life the soul-crushing existence of poverty. Then you wonder how they managed to do so much with so little. For reals. I was 30 when I realized what mom meant when she told us kids to go ahead and eat because she ate in the kitchen. What hunger really is. I remember waiting for my dad's payday for the grocery shopping trip and being absolutely ravenous when the food got there. I don't remember which day of the week it was, but we'd go on the day that the most free samples were available. This is where being poor in farm country is a little bit easier than being poor in a city. I worked on a dairy farm when I was a kid, and I got to take home a gallon of milk every day. We got deals on chickens and even got a half cow and half pig on the cheap. It was rare for us to be hungry, but everything was cooked from scratch and we all did what we could to contribute. When you get home and see a yellow notice hanging off your door, you're fucked. It's always on a Friday too, so you're out of luck until Monday. I just had one. I was $3 short on my electric bill, and they left a notice saying they were going to turn me off by that afternoon if I didn't go pay it. I did go pay it. Outdated technology. When I started college, one of my professors asked if anyone in our class remembered how you changed a channel on the TV before remote controls. I was the only person in the room who remembered turning dials and adjusting rabbit ears despite being one of the youngest students in the class, because my family had a TV from the 70s until 1995. Same sort of thing with computers, phones, etc. If we had it at all, we got something much later than anyone else, after it got cheaper and bought used. I got my first computer in 1999. It had Windows 3.1 and that was what I used until I was able to use my financial aid to get a new PC tower for college. I truly had no idea until I was in my junior year of high school taking child development that Head Start was a program created for children from homes of low income. I simply thought it was a place for me to get a head start as a kid. I still remember my teacher saying verbatim, "No honey, your family was just poor," in front of the whole class. Edit, RIP my inbox, ha. Please like and subscribe for more. This is Laugh with Mims. Goodbye.